Hello everyone and welcome to this Labor Day edition of the Coleslaw Cup. This week the league takes on the newly created Miami International Autodrome, a 5.4 kilometer circuit that features 19 corners, all of which have been specifically designed to create mistakes from drivers and to promote good racing. Now, I tell you what, in real life F1 we saw this track in action for the first time, as you would with a new circuit, and it was not very impressive. However, anytime I've seen it been used in game, it's been absolutely brilliant. So I actually have no idea what to believe. We're getting into the business end of the season now, ladies and gentlemen. It's starting, we're nearing the halfway point. I don't think we're there just yet. However, some quality drivers on the grid for today, so relax and enjoy. So then, the final 30 seconds before our formation lap begins. Here at the Miami International Autodrome, it looks to be a very bright and sunny day. Very hazy as well, as you can see down towards, what is that? That would be the turn 1 end of the circuit then, as you can see. 10 seconds to go. I believe we're going to have formation lap unless anything has changed. I remember this is one of the only leagues I know that actually has been doing formation lap these days. See how it goes. No, okay, the race is starting suddenly. Okay, we have 4 and then 5 lights. And then it is lights out, and away we go. And it looks like Scornsy has gotten a much better start on the outside. It looks like El Majaco has followed in close behind. Dace tries to close off the middle from the Mercedes of Dusty Lusky down to the inside. Majaco's trying to go around the left side of Dace as he goes through the first couple of corners there, and he does. Very nicely done by the Australian, making his way up into second place, and now he can challenge the leader of Scornsy. These two have battled on many occasions so far this season. Majaco, mind you, is on the soft compound tire, it seems. Scornsy has gone on to the hards. It looks like here, oh, Scornsy's have to go off track. What has happened then with Scornsy? He's gone completely out of the way then of El Majaco. That was very unprecedented then. If we're just looking to see who's on what tire, it is a huge mix of tire compounds then here today. It looks like Dusty Lusky and Scavney side by side then as they go down, exiting, going through turn number 9. Well, I kind of expected formation lap to be on. I've kind of lost my bearings here. Side by side, then, is Dace and Scornsy as they make their way through the horseshoe. Dace on the outside. He will have preferred line here going into this next couple of corners, and Scornsy gets demoted down to 3rd. Going through, Dace has just completely ran over the bollard then. This is going to be the interesting one here, though. Whoever's on those soft tires, I would assume, will have some form of advantage going down these straights. Mind you, the soft tires can only last between 7 and 9 laps. Scornsy may actually be at somewhat of a statistical advantage, as we see the AlphaTauri of A-Dub and Unholy Red Eye battling it out there down towards the back. But, as I was saying, the soft tires can only go between 7 and 9 laps, so it's assuming that El Majaco can get out to somewhat of an advantage here. 7/10 of a second so far. Dace still in pursuit. Those mediums can last between 13 and 17. But, crucially, the hards can last between 17 and 23 laps, easily the majority of the race. So, that being said, does Scornsy have an advantage in the long run by starting on the hard compound tires? Oh, car off towards the back. It looks like hasn't been Grumpy Old Catman, and it has stopped on the center of the circuit. That's going through turn number 10. Wait, no, going through turn 3. It kind of confused me because it's turn 10 on the minimap. The number's in a weird place. Anyways, El Majaco. Oh, someone's going off again. It looks like VTech has had a bit of an accident there. That's coming out of turn number 8. It looks like he's caught oversteer then and has parked it then. So El Majaco has the lead of the Grand Prix, stays in second, Scornsy in a close third, and Scornsy under pressure then by Dusty Lusky. The cream of the crop have risen to the top, and Dusty Lusky now will, in a very short amount of time, he will be challenging that Haas of Scornsy. Scornsy on the hard tire. Now, those are probably the preferred race tire, I should say, but you will have limited grip, so it's going to be difficult to see who has the advantage here. Despite getting out to an early lead, El Majaco only 0.5 of a second ahead of Dace, and that gap, by the way, has been closing. Dace on those medium tires. That was probably the best decision, is for that AlphaTauri to start on the medium tires. Surprisingly enough, only 4 drivers on the grid have started on the mediums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have started on the softs, and the rest have started on hards. Dace on the fastest lap so far, 1:31.233. That's great for him. And now with DRS going to be in play here, that's going to be a very interesting one then. I believe Ray Lobo has just had a small accident, then that's coming out of turn 17. Can we see what's happened with him? Yeah, he's against the inside wall then, not too good. It looks like Scornsy has now put a 1.5 seconds roughly back to that of Dusty Lusky. However, no lead is safe here. as Dace is going to have DRS here, and Majacco taking up... Oh, I believe Dace has actually just hit that wall on the outside then. DRS is going to be in play here for the AlphaTauri. Can he amount to enough speed here to overtake the Ferrari for the lead of the Grand Prix? It's going to be a very interesting decision here. Does he back off, or does he try it going into the horseshoe? I believe, honestly, the smart decision would be to back off. Scornsy, actually, that's Scornsy, a second and a half back to Dace. It's Dusty Lusky within 6/10 of Scornsy ahead. But now Dace, can he find somewhat of an advantage going through 14 and 15, now down the DRS? Wow, look at the gap. It's gone from about 7/10 on the first lap, at the end of the first lap, to now within 3 nearly. DRS and battery being used for the AlphaTauri of Dace. Can he find the move going down the back stretch here? Jacko's going to have some defending to do into turn 17. Can Dace edge him out before they get there? No, I don't believe he can. Jacko might hold on to the position. It's contact being made between the two, it seemed at least. But Dace has taken that spot, and Majacco is still right there. Now, mind you, that soft compound already halfway through its life. El Majacco down to the inside using every bit of pace he can. He's taking the lead away from the AlphaTauri then, but the AlphaTauri of Dace still in hot pursuit, right up against that right and left rear tire, doing everything he can to find some sort of grip, some sort of way around that Ferrari, because that Ferrari will become a sitting duck once the tires fall off the cliff, and you could already see the degradation of the Ferrari. You can already start to see graining. We're only four laps into the Grand Prix. You can start to see where it grains on the right front then. Dace now, DRS will be enabled once they get past turn number 9. Can he find a way around the Ferrari? He's going to have plenty of time here, I think, before he gets to the horseshoe. He's going to find his way around the right-hand side. This looks to be a great maneuver, but the Ferrari is still there somehow. It's wheel to wheel for the lead here. El Majacco's going to switch back down to the inside through the horseshoe. No! Contact made! And Scornsy's going to scoot through and take the lead. And I think in his evasive maneuvering then, Scornsy's actually hit the wall. Dusty Lusky has been promoted to second place, but El Majacco went down to the inside on Dace then, trying to get that spot through the horseshoe. They made contact. Both of them ended up in the wall, and Scornsy now has the lead of the Grand Prix, but not for long, because here comes Dusty Lusky down to the inside. As you can see back there, Dace and El Majacco battling once again, but this time, instead of for the lead, it's for the 4th spot. Down to the inside goes Dace. A-Dub, his teammate, in hot pursuit as well. Once again, I think contact being made. I believe Tim Rowland is spun coming out of turn 16. That definitely seems like the case. But what a unbelievable turn of events this has been on the opening couple laps of the Grand Prix. Scornsy now and Dusty Lusky very close battling here. Scornsy was momentarily ahead of the Mercedes then. He's going to look around the left-hand side. He's going to then switch back to the right from when the circuit transitions from the left-hand to the right-hand corner. Can he find it now? Scornsy doing everything he can, trying to find his way around the Mercedes then of Dusty Lusky. Dusty Lusky, his pace surely will be falling off very shortly on those soft tires. Remember, only 7 to 9 laps. They're halfway through that tire life already, and we will see the beginning of the end for the soft runners very shortly. Scavney in hot pursuit as well. The top 3 all within 0.6 of a second of each other. This is brilliant racing here so far in the Miami Grand Prix. Labor Day weekend. Oh, Scavney way into the back then of Scornsy. Scornsy's had to go miles off the track. I'd be surprised if Scavney hasn't lost the entirety of his front wing. That one wasn't good there. He's missed his braking point by a country mile. And somehow, some way, he's actually kept the car in one piece. That was almost terribly painful. Dace picking up 3 seconds for multiple warnings, and as a driver contending for the win of this race, that's not too good. Now, has that done any damage then to Scornsy? Because, as you know, rear wing damage, it's real. Well, I'm not quite sure, but meanwhile, we got the 3-car battle here between Scavney, Dace, and El Majacco. Majacco's fallen back to that 5th spot. Dace, the AlphaTauri. Oh, I think he's hit the wall once again, getting oversteer coming out of turn 17. El Majacco doing everything he can, trying to find some way back into this battle for the top couple of spots. Unholy Red Eye, mind you, can he find a way around A-Dub? A-Dub has started on the hards, so these two, realistically, even Stevens on tires so far. The hards, despite being the longer-lasting compound, they'll only be that they won't be that much slower than those medium tires. We're talking a couple of tenths at most. But speaking of a couple of tenths, can Scornsy find his way around Dusty Lusky cleanly? We've seen a lot of opportunities and attempts of overtaking so far today, only 6 laps in, and by goodness, not a lot of them have ended well. Scornsy trying to keep within that slipstream of the Mercedes in front of him, but to no avail at this moment in time as they head through the horseshoe. But the Haas of Scornsy has been doing everything he can. Oh, really deep into the braking zone. That time does go Scornsy. But I tell you what, he might be getting better speed through these technical sections. Dusty Lusky, I think, has got him beat on straight line speed. But Scornsy, quite fast, it seems. Dace now within a tenth of Scavney ahead of him, this being technically for that third spot. Of course, when penalties come into play, it's not going to matter. But look at him, even Stevens, as they head down towards turn 17. Dace does have that bottom, but will he turn it into an overtake? Well, he's gone quite high. I think if I was Scavney then, I would have tried to switch back down to the inside and re-overtake him, but instead Dace does get that position. Scornsy within 3/10 on Dusty Lusky. Now these two battling for quite some time now. The pit window for the soft tires will be open at the end of this lap. And look at that, you can already see that was a big wiggle then from the Mercedes. Dusty Lusky is going to be side by side going into turn number 4. Scornsy backing out of it, trying to pressure him into a mistake through this sweeping left-hander of turn 6, 7, and 8. Scornsy's going to have a great run out of that corner. Well, actually, Dusty's gotten a really good run, to be honest. Dusty Lusky's actually gotten a wildly great run, to be completely honest. I'm not quite sure Scornsy's going to be able to make that overtake happen heading into the horseshoe. It doesn't seem like he will, and no, but again, Scornsy looks to have Dusty Lusky beaten for pace through the second sector. This is the part of the track, this in the first sector really, is where he's been challenging the Mercedes. Once again, it seems like Dusty Lusky does have much better straight line speed than that Haas. However, so far, it's been quite even, these two. Not to mention, Dace is in on this as well. We have a little bit of the DRS train starting here. All the way back down to P5. Dusty, Scornsy, Dace, Scavney, and Majacco all in on this. Looks like A-Dub on those hards actually kind of struggling. He's fallen back about 4 seconds back to the lead pack of drivers here. Scornsy now, can he look down to the inside? He had a couple of opportunities in the first sector last lap. However, and it looks like TTV Dutchman on his way in. Around the outside now looks Scornsy. Can he find that position? Can he make it happen? It's still side by side as they go through turn 4. And yes, Scornsy does have the position. Dace actually wanted in on this as well. Oh, Scornsy has spun it round. No, and suddenly, well, how the turntables. Scornsy out to the lead of the Grand Prix, suddenly spun it. I believe that was coming off a curb. It had to be, because there's absolutely no way. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Scornsy might be one of the best F1 esports drivers that I've seen, that I've had the pleasure of commentated on. You almost never see him make a genuine mistake like that. That's about as rare as seeing a bald eagle on 4th of July, really. Well, Dace suddenly finds himself in second. He does have the 3-second time penalty, but Dusty Lusky seems to now have himself the lead, but only just, mind you. 3 out of the drivers in the top 4 will have to box within the next 2 laps. Nicky64 has had himself a bit of an off then. He looks to be going quite slowly. No wing damage for him. Certainly not helpful, though. So Dusty Lusky out to the lead. Dace in second. Dace on the advantage for now. A-Dub perhaps in the long run. It looks like Scornsy getting around Unholy Red Eye then in the Alfa Romeo. Side by side of the 2 Ferraris, neither of them coming in. So it looks like they're going to wait until the end of the lap, most likely. Side by side here, the Ferrari teammates, El Majacco finding it around the left-hand side of Scavney. Dace now, he's within 3/10 on Dusty Lusky. I just have absolutely no idea how Scornsy lost that car. It seemed like a bit of an odd place. We didn't see many instances of oversteer happening. Well, we got a Williams that's gone off then. Catastrophic, but thankfully ghosting is on. Oh, that's a slide then from Dusty, and Dace has had to back out of the throttle as to not run into the back of the Mercedes then. But you can see that's the struggling. DRS open here for the AlphaTauri. Side by side then for the lead. El Majacco is closing in. Remember, El Majacco, him and Dace got into it not long ago on, I believe it was the 2nd or 3rd lap of the Grand Prix, and those two nearly DNF'd each other in the process. Dusty Lusky down to the inside of Dace, side by side here for the lead as they go through the horseshoe. Then again, Dace taking that line through the horseshoe and not necessarily chopping the driver on the inside in half, but he's taking it it kind of diamonding off the corner, which, I don't know, it's a bold way to take it, that part's for sure. DRS enabled here for the Mercedes. Once again, the straight line speed advantage coming into play for the Mercedes of Dusty Lusky. Round the right-hand side then, as Dace falls back to second once more. Scavney, I gotta say, keeping right up with his teammate of El Majacco. Neither one of them look to have the other beaten for pace. In the pits now comes Dusty Lusky, Majacco. Oh, and Scavney's gone off! Wow, and somehow he's not lost the car then. That was dangerously close to an unbelievable turn of events then. Dusty Lusky on his way in, El Majacco on his way in, and Scavney somehow lost the car and has kept it going. Wow. What an unbelievable turn of events then. Yellow flag in Sector 3. It looks like, I believe, Ray Lobo's had himself, something's happened with him. And now suddenly the closest battle on track, the two Mercedes. Well, actually, El Majacco's within close distance here on Dusty Lusky. Now, you can see the driver starting to go to the hard tires. Those will last, well, 19 laps to go. Oops, Scavney's gone off ahead. And that's his second spin within this lap. That's not necessarily good. You can see the softs are definitely taking their toll. El Majacco now, can he find his way around the Mercedes of Dusty Lusky? Dusty Lusky has had absolutely impeccable straight line speed so far here today. There's been no stopping him whatsoever. So we can go ahead and believe that anybody who's on the medium tires currently, within that top 5 at least, Dace, Unholy Red-Eye, and Nicky 64, we can believe that they will be pitting within the next, I'd say, 5 laps. Dace's teammate of A-Dub, mind you, he's actually doing quite well. 2 seconds behind his teammate on, well, I don't want to say fresh hard tires. They'll at least get you to lap 23. Well, I'm not quite sure. Perhaps, I don't know. The people that started on the hards, that being VTech, Tweezer, A-Dub, and Scornsy, do they perhaps find a way to transition onto the hard, not the hards, the softs? Do they stick it out that long as much as they can? Drive on what really will be the eggshells of the hards. To about that 23rd lap. You know, that's quite the task then. I'm not too sure. Scavney in the pits now. Oh! Contact being made then. Shariah Coleslaw down to the inside of Tweezer, and the Williams and the Alpine have had themselves an incident then. Well, a little bit of a break in the action. Here's El Majacco, 0.3 of a second back to Dusty Lusky. Both the drivers on fresh, hard tires. Both of them really even on battery percentage as well. Jacko just outside 50%. Dusty is about 55. El Majacco needs to find somewhat of an advantage here, because if you're in the straights, it's all going to be Dusty. He probably, I think truthfully, he probably is the fastest car on track today as far as top speed. Let's just look at it here. We're going to have the data for you in a second. No DRS in play then for the Mercedes. But let's see here. At the braking zone, let's look at his top speed. 320, yeah, almost 330. Capped at 331. Majacco just braking then, so we couldn't catch onto it. 331 kilometers an hour then for the Mercedes of Dusty Lusky. Is there anyone else that we could take that measurement on? Well, let's go along with Shariah Coleslaw. He's halfway down the straight now, no DRS in play. And look at this, he can only peak at 320, so unbelievably enough, that is at least an 11 kilometer an hour difference between that of Dusty Lusky then and Shariah. Let's go along with someone else. Let's find Dace at this moment in time. Of course, the bit looping section of the track will be able to get that data for you as soon as he kind of gets to that section. Scornsy, mind you, up to that 3rd spot. He's battling A-Dub here, which for what will be essentially the battle for the lead, considering that neither of these drivers have stopped yet. Both of them started on the hard tires. Big wiggle then from A-Dub. I tell you what, he's really had to maneuver the car through turn 14 and 15 then. DRS in play here, as well as the battery. Now let's see what kind of speed Scornsy is pulling here. So with the help of DRS, He's capped at 335. So, do with that as you will. With that extra DRS advantage, as Dace coming into the pits now. With that DRS advantage that Scornsy had was only 4 kilometers an hour faster than that of Dusty Lusky. Dusty Lusky, definitely. I tell you what, there's not much argument to be had. Let's look at TTV Dutchman, what kind of speeds he's pulling. It looks like Scornsy and A-Dub, more importantly, battling for the lead of this Grand Prix. Now, A-Dub, at this point in time, he is a super quick driver. You'd have to expect that he is used to these high-stress situations. However, so Scornsy. 2 very experienced drivers right here at the top of the grid. 2 very talented, 2 very quick. Let's see who will have the advantage. Scornsy, is he going to look for it here? No, he's going to back off and try his best. Now, this is the thing that Scornsy's doing. Scornsy is an absolute master at analyzing what parts of the track a driver is struggling in. So Scornsy, in that battle, along with Dusty Lusky he had earlier, was able to track down and catch that Mercedes, knowing that he was better through that second sector. And that's where he closed that gap, as he's done with A-Dub as well. Scornsy really is just an absolute master of finding those weaknesses that a driver may have. 337, so 338, I think, was the fastest we saw just then, as Scornsy making the overtake then of A-Dub, on A-Dub. Dusty Lusky, he's got Dace in pursuit as well. Dace actually under pressure from a Jacko then. Jacko's going to have DRS. Jacko capped at 337. Dusty Lusky has not had DRS for a hot minute, and he has been able to outlast both of the drivers with DRS behind him. That's a neat little statistic to have, if I say so myself. About halfway through the Grand Prix here, probably this time by. Getting yellow flag, it looks like, has Tim Rowland had himself an off then? Yeah, he has. That's coming out of turns 14 to 15. Really easy to lose it through that section of the track. I've definitely been victim to it many a time, that part's for sure. Through the horseshoe now, Scornsy has the lead. 7/10 of a second, 8/10 of a second over A-Dub in second place. A-Dub here just has to keep calm and not make any mistakes resulting in track limits penalties. He's been doing great so far. Is he able to hold on to it once more? Have to wait and see. He's outside of a second now. I don't think he's getting DRS. No, he won't. So A-Dub doesn't have DRS, meaning the closest battle on track, Dace, El Majacco here. Going through 14 and 15 now. Into turn 16, it's going to be a DRS train here. Dusty Lusky in a world of trouble now, being that he doesn't have DRS. Well, he's got a little bit of battery, but that can only help you so much. El Majacco's made somewhat of a mistake, I believe, exiting turn 16, and he has fallen back here. Dace now, with the help of DRS, only 335. Oh! Jesus, nearly plowing into the back then of Dusty Lusky. That almost ended terribly. And we saw Scaffney make that mistake earlier with Scornsy heading into the horseshoe quite early on in the race. That was almost catastrophic then. Dace was kind of looking for it there on Dusty, kind of slid up the track a little bit halfway through this Grand Prix. VTEC on his way into the pits. Oh, I believe Dace, I'm sorry to just do that, but Dace had a mistake then. He had quite a moment. El Majacco was not able to capitalize. Man, that got very close then for Dace. El Majacco in pursuit. Dace right to the left rear tire of Dusty Lusky. He's staying right within that slipstream, and now he's going to look for it around. No, he's staying right there. Dace, does he plan on taking him into the horseshoe? That would be a good maneuver if he does. But will he be able to make it? El Majacco in pursuit as well. Into the horseshoe they go. Majacco a little bit late on the brakes there. Has closed that gap up nicely. Now, El Majacco and Dace, these two, had their history battling through that horseshoe, as you remember. 14 and 15 now. It looks like everybody kind of getting through this. I gotta say, all three of these drivers so evenly matched on pace. I believe Dace may have just hit that wall then on exit of turn 16. Very well could have happened. All three of these drivers so evenly paced. So evenly matched on pace. It's actually difficult to tell. I mean, Dace does have the time penalty, but even then, that doesn't seem like I mean, it doesn't really seem like anything to be worried about. He's not going to lose any positions other than El Majacco behind him. I mean, honestly. Right to the back, then, of the gearbox. El Majacco, can he find anything? Oh, quite wide they're going through that. That's a... Well, anyways. Here comes Dace. He's looking for it here on Dusty. Down to the inside. DRS not in play yet, but it will be now. Look how close they are. They could fit a piece of paper between these two. Side by side, heading towards the horseshoe. Dace wants it around the outside, and he has it. But only just and only for now. Remember, Dusty Lusky has a significant straight line speed advantage. But Dusty Lusky will be under pressure here from Jacko shortly. Dace, mind you, is also on the fresher of the tires at this moment in time. Meanwhile, Scornsy and A-Dub at the top of the grid. They have about a 14-15 second gap back to that of third place of Unholy Red Eye, which, by the way, he's going to have to pit here very shortly. Dusty Lusky, here he comes. Look at the speed he's pulling. 350 kilometers an hour, heading down into turn 7. He's going to switch back down to the inside now as A-Dub comes in. Oh, bold strategy then. He's trying to pull off the undercut here on the person leading the race, which is Scornsy. That, I gotta say, a little unexpected then. Now, what tires does he go on? He's going on the mediums. Huh. Interesting. This is pretty much what we expected to happen. Scornsy and the rest of the drivers who started on the hards will stay out until the softs can come into play for them, which will be in less than about 2 or 3 laps time. Interesting call there by A-Dub. That, I gotta say, was slightly unexpected. VTech setting the fastest lap then. Whatever that said. El Majacco still within 0.5 of a second on Dusty. Can he find anything here? Man, it doesn't seem like Jacko's able to keep up with these two ahead of him. He's definitely able to do so anywhere that's not a straight line. That part's for sure, but other than that, and mind you, this battle also in play then as Unholy Red Eye has suddenly fallen into play here. The second position up for grabs. Dace is now going to have DRS ahead to the Alfa Romeo. Dusty Lusky has now entered a world of trouble. Ooh, we get a yellow flag somewhere. That, I believe, is the Mercedes of Nicky64, who has gone off going through the horseshoe. Scornsy on his way into the pits, covering off the undercut then, which was going to be performed by that of A-Dub for the lead of the Grand Prix. Dace, I believe, no, that's Unholy Red Eye into the pits then. Scornsy, does he have the lead? Wow, this is going to be quite close on exit then. Scornsy's actually chosen to fit the mediums here. That's quite a bold decision. Scornsy actually comes out and takes the lead of the Grand Prix. He's timed that pit stop absolutely brilliantly. And now El Majacco and Dusty Lusky side by side. Jacko was able to get around the Mercedes then. I gotta say, this is a very interesting race as far as tire strategy is concerned. So many twists and turns that you could potentially take. All of them have different outcomes. Honestly, this is a brilliant race from the strategic point of view. .3 of a second then, the battle for the lead. Dace is right there. He does have the penalty, and he is on slower tires than that of Scornsy. El Majacco not far behind, Dusty Lusky as well, and as well as A-Dub. A-Dub, fresh medium tires. He might have a fair advantage over everybody else in this top 5. Unless, that is, he can't get around anyone. Look, he's used up so much of his battery, down to the last 30%, whereas Dusty Lusky ahead of him, well, he's actually not that much better, 22. A-Dub just simply not able to catch up to the cars ahead of him. Oh, Tim Rowland has gone off right in the path of the leaders then. Try a Coleslaw 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's not going to help him. Dace still looking for it to Scornsy here. Meanwhile, Unholy Red Eye getting around the inside of TDV Dutchman. I believe has Tim Rowland gone off once again. Now he's getting out of the way of the lead drivers. I hope. See, yeah, look, he is in quite the conundrum there, as A-Dub looking for it then on Dusty Lusky. Within 0.3 of a second on the fresh mediums. This is where Dusty Lusky has been struggling, anywhere that isn't a DRS section. A-Dub now. Can he find the inside? Yes, he does, but can't find that overtake. 2.5 tenths. DRS open then for the AlphaTauri. Still just nothing there. Not one driver has had a match for the pace that's been shown by that Mercedes driver. Speaking of Mercedes, I believe that is Scavney who's had an off then. Sorry, not Mercedes, Ferrari. Had a little bit of an off then. A-Dub right then to the gearbox of Dusty. Can he find it still? 2 seconds, the gap from the leader. Oh, well, it's actually pretty evenly spread out, these top few drivers. This really is the only even close battle within the top 5. Now, mind you, Dace, including the penalty, will probably be falling back only to 3rd. So, these two really are in a battle for what could be the podium here, if they're fast enough. A-Dub, if he gets around Dusty, I'm sure will be there in plenty of time enough to get that podium position. But if not, Dace will only drop about 1-2 spots the most. A-Dub round the right side then. And as he looks for it then on Dusty Lusky, the Mercedes still down to the inside. And there's a beautiful overtake for the AlphaTauri. Makes his way up into the 4th spot. Dusty Lusky, however, still right there, still within DRS range. This one's not over yet. So it looks now, we've got Dusty Lusky. He's a second behind. I don't think he's going to have DRS here. No, he won't. Dusty Lusky has fallen outside of DRS now, of A-Dub ahead of him, but look at the speed that he's pulling. Despite not having DRS, at the most he was 1.2 seconds behind. He's now cut that gap in half, even without the aid of DRS. Whew. Dusty Lusky, can he find his way back to the podium positions here? Dace, mind you, has about a 2-second advantage over Majako so far. Into the pits now comes TDB Dutchman. This is an interesting call here. What's happened with him? Just a tire change for him. He must be going for the fastest lap. He's fit the softs. Well, a bit of side-by-side action then, I believe that was. Coming out of the pits then, I believe Tim Rowland, something was with him there. Yeah, look, he's side-by-side with VTEC then. Of course, he is the lap traffic, but still. Scornsy, ooh, bit of a slide going through the chicane then, 14 and 15. That one's not exactly gone all to plan for him then. That got very hairy. A-Dub here, he's within 1.3 seconds on Majako. This one getting quite close. Now A-Dub, once again, will be battling for that second spot, assuming that Dace doesn't etch that lead over El Majako to 3 seconds. At 2.2 currently. He's also on much fresher tires than that of the Ferrari of El Majako. A-Dub closing that gap within a second now. And mind you, Scornsy had that spin earlier on. Scornsy was able to spin, lose the lead, stay out, take the lead from the pit stop. That's just incredible. That shows the absolute pace that guy has. Meanwhile, VTEC within a couple tenths here on Shirai Coleslaw. Let's go along with these guys. Coleslaw does have that 3-second penalty then. Can he find it with DRS? No, I don't believe he will. However, A-Dub now. Will he get DRS back to Jacko? Was he there at the at the activation point? Yes, he is. But I gotta say, it doesn't look like it's helping him much. He still does have quite that gap. 0.2 of a second. Oh, big wiggle then from Shariah. And VTech, I believe, is going to get that position scot-free. That was a huge wiggle from Shariah. And thankfully, he was able to save position. So then, picks up 3 seconds and multiple warnings. That battle for that 7th spot is on. Funny enough, I believe that was in avoidance of Shariah's incident then. Tim Rowland has taken one more spin. That's coming out of turn number 8. Having to several point turn the car. Into the pits comes Ray Lobo. A-Dub within 0.8 on El Majaco for what will be the 2nd spot. We do have, mind you, 7 laps to go in this Grand Prix. There's still a lot of time. A lot can go wrong, and a lot can go right within 7 laps. That part's for sure. Big wiggle then for A-Dub, and, well, it almost went wrong just then. Well, it has gone wrong as he's fallen out of DRS range here, and that, I gotta say, unfortunately for him, I think one of his only opportunities he's going to be able to have to get around El Majaco. And that's not gone well for him. He's had that wiggle. He's been able to keep the car very nicely, I will say that. But that has not helped him. Oh, we've got Scavney that's gone off there. That's going through the horseshoe. Meanwhile, Shariah Coleslaw still trying to find his way back to VTech. I think he's had a bit of a off somewhere, as he was quite close a moment ago, but now he's fallen back to nearly outside of a second. Look at see, Shariah Coleslaw, 14-lap-old hard tires, VTech 8-lap-old medium. So, I gotta say, I don't think that battle is going to be all too competitive. Oh, get a Mercedes that's gone off. That's Nicky 64. Okay, that, Tim Rowland, 5-second penalty speeding into the pit lane there. Shariah Coleslaw still within 0.8 of VTech. Remember, this battle for the 7th position is on. Both of these drivers on 3-second time penalties. Either one of them could have the advantage. It looks like now VTech, simply on the fresher tires, is etching out that lead. Back to Shariah Coleslaw, it's now outside of 1.2 seconds, and it's suddenly starting to close. Shariah does have a little bit of battery left, where VTech does not. 27% battery there for Shariah Coleslaw. VTech down to his nothing. As the field slightly spread apart now, nobody really within striking distance of each other, I'll say that much. Yellow flag then. I believe the Williams of Tweezer perhaps getting out of the way of the rest of the grid there. Perhaps Ray Lobo. Yellow flag again. Nicky 64. Something's happened with him. He has maybe had a bit of a spin going through that. Certainly looks it. 1.3 seconds the gap from A-Dub back to Majaco. Now, Jacko does have, that is that lap car ahead of him. Now, I know ghosting is on, but that may be a psychological disadvantage there because Jacko, in his own right, probably plays a lot of leagues where there is no ghosted cars for the blue flags. However, even when there is blue flags, when there is ghosted cars, it doesn't help you. You still try to avoid them as a driver. Your brain doesn't make that connection that they're not there until that's already happened. And that is a very difficult thing. Now, this is interesting here. Tim Rowland within 0.8 of a second on Ray Lobo for that 14th position. A-Dub within a second then of El Majaco ahead as they start the next lap of the Grand Prix. See, A-Dub has kind of been struggling with the tires there, I'm afraid. Gap back to leader. Scorsese got 7 seconds over Dace. Dace, despite having that 3-second time penalty, is about 3 seconds ahead of El Majaco with 5 laps to go in the Grand Prix. That one might be interesting very shortly. 3.1 seconds the gap. Dace may just keep that second position, so A-Dub really is then in a battle for the podium. Not anymore has it turned into second place. He's in a battle for the podium for that 3rd spot. Now he's within 0.6 of a second. 8-lap-old mediums compared to Jacko's 15-lap-old hards. Surely he does have that tire advantage. However, only just. as you got to think those mediums, those are halfway towards the end of its tire life. El Majaco will be fine towards the end of the race. He still has another 8 laps roughly able to be had on those hard tires. So, the question comes to mind, can A-Dub keep it clean enough to get to El Majaco? Or can El Majaco keep it clean enough for himself to keep away from A-Dub? We have seen A-Dub make his, I don't want to say share of mistakes, but we've seen him struggle with the car a couple times so far here today. 0.7 of a second the gap. 4 laps to go now. Back onto the throttle then is the AlphaTauri, the closest battle on track currently, minus that of Tim Rowland and Ray Lobo, which let's check in on that for a second. Look at that, they actually hit each other. Oh, big incident then. Wow, and Ray Lobo has been DNF'd then. Wow, and we're going to get a safety car with no time left. Well, we just went along with it then. Tim Rowland and Ray Lobo were side by side for position. Wouldn't be the first time Williams and Aston Martin came together. You can ask Nicholas Latifi and Lance Stroll about that one. But still, oh, and VTEC's gone off. Where's VTEC gone off? That's under safety car. How the hell's he done that? Well, let's just look and see here. Well, VTEC, has he ran into the back of the safety car? No, surely not. I don't know what's happened with VTEC. I don't know how he's DNF'd, but he has. Maybe has he hit the corpse of Ray Lobo? I'm not quite sure, but he has. And now, this becomes a very interesting situation. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just realized something very, very crucial to this whole scenario. Remember in Singapore, where Scornsy led practically the whole race, and then a safety car came out, and himself and El Majaco battled it out for the lead with 2 laps to go. Are we going to get that again? El Majaco is staying out, Scornsy coming in. Scornsy fitting fresh soft tires. Does anyone follow? Dace is coming in, A-Dub coming in, Dusty coming in, Unholy Red Eye, a bit too far back to tell. However, Scornsy's come out on soft tires. El Majaco has stayed out. This may be the penance that Scornsy has waited for to get around El Majaco here. He's going to have absolutely no time on the clock to do so. He's going to have laps 28 and 29 to get around that of El Majaco. We hadn't seen one shred of wing damage all day. We saw the incident with Majaco and Dace. We saw Ray Lobo spin around a few times at least. No offense to him, I'm just pointing out the facts. And not one piece of bodywork was laid anywhere on track. And suddenly, Ray Lobo and Tim Rowland come together in a very tight section of the circuit, collide, and Ray Lobo ends in a DNF, and then VTEC somehow follows suit. And that now opens the door for Scornsy. That shuts the door firmly, seals it, puts several locks on it, and then decides to blow up the house for Dace. He's 11 seconds of penalties. He was 3 seconds prior to the safety car. He's picked up another one in there somewhere. Or has he picked one up for speeding? Could that have been the case? Because he was at 6 seconds before he got into the pit lane, and now he's at 11. Dace, I'm assuming, has picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. A-Dub, mind you, in pursuit as well. So, safety car in this lap. Realistically, we have A-Dub, Dace, Scornsy, and Majaco in this picture. Well, realistically, A-Dub, Scornsy, and Jaco. I would assume that Dace is going to let his teammate go by. But Scornsy in position here to get the revenge, to finally make it right for what happened at Singapore between himself and El Majaco. Oh, don't you love how life comes full circle on things like that? Safety car in this lap as the field heads their way towards turn 17. Jaco, old, hard tires. Scornsy, fresh softs. Both of these drivers, super experienced, super talented, and we're going to get ourselves one hell of a last 2 laps of this race. Green flag back in the air here at Miami. El Majaco, at the severe disadvantage that he is, does have the advantage in the turn 1. Scornsy's going to try around the outside. Side by side then for the lead of the Grand Prix. But the door was shut. A-Dub in position as well. He's got to, I would assume he's going to get by his teammate here. Side by side the 2 AlphaTauris. Mind you, A-Dub is in this battle for the win as well. And look at that. Dace is refusing to give up that position. Dace has refused to let his teammate of A-Dub go by with no time left on the clock. That makes absolutely no sense. Why is Dace not getting out of the way of his teammate here so he can go compete for a win? Well, anyways, side by side here, Scornsy and Elma Jacko as they head down through turn 10. Jacko somehow has a straight line speed pace advantage. Scornsy backs out and then tries it again. Contact was made, and now they go down into the horseshoe for the second to last time. A-Dub is right there as well. Is he going to perhaps find a way around his teammate of Dace? He's going to have to if he wants this win. Through turns 14 and 15 they go. Oh, contact was made there. Scornsy's run wide through the corner. And now he almost loses position then to the AlphaTauri, but I wonder what happened there with Scornsy. Was he bumped from behind by Dace, which made him miss the chicane? That is a very possibility there. A very possibility, not a very big one. But mind you, Dusty Lusky's in on this as well. Holy moly, when did Dusty Lusky get here? Scornsy down on the inside of Elma Jacko. Side by side for the win. Scornsy goes deep to the A-Bit. No! And Dace is going to hit Elma Jacko then. And now suddenly A-Dub wants it. A-Dub's going to go around the outside. And somehow, someway, yet again, Dace and Elma Jacko have come together at the death. And now Dusty Lusky wants in on this as well. He's going to run into the back then of A-Dub. Dace is going to go around the outside. Elma Jacko has fallen out of favor here in this Grand Prix. He's 1.2 seconds behind. And now A-Dub, can he find his way around that Ferrari then? He's going to switch back down to the inside. Is he going to find the right side then? He's going to certainly try to. But how did Dace and Elma Jacko run into each other again? That one, I will guarantee, is not going to go over well at the end of this race. A-Dub, not that far behind Jacko. Of course, DRS not in play. Jacko has battery, A-Dub doesn't. Dace now side by side with his teammate. Look at the toe, and Dusty Lusky wanted it through the middle. 3 wide it was. I don't know who's lost position there. A-Dub managing to keep his teammate behind him. I have absolutely no idea. His teammate, I'm sure, is going to defend here. Oh, Dusty Lusky, big bump then to Dace. Wow. So much drama unfolding here. They're going to have one last go at it down the backstretch. Scornsy, by all means, got the penance that he was looking for, got the revenge that he so rightly deserved after Singapore. And Scornsy, rounding turns 18 and 19 now, will go on to win the Miami Grand Prix in dramatic fashion. Elma Jacko, after it's all said and done, will take second, A-Dub third, Dusty Lusky in fourth, and you gotta hand it then to Dace, the defense job that he pulled for his teammates, so he could secure that third spot, and Dusty comes back in fourth. It took Dace running into Elma Jacko and letting A-Dub through for Dace to finally let his teammate, who wasn't on any penalties, through. And I tell you what, had Dace let A-Dub by a little bit sooner, I think we fully could have had a 3-car battle for that win. But after it's all said and done, Scornsy does take the win of the Grand Prix. Elma Jacko second, and A-Dub third. So after the drama unfolds then here in Miami, Scornsy taking home Well, it's not a Grand Slam. He's gotten first, started on pole, and has the fastest lap. El Majako second, A-Dub third, Dusty fourth, Dutchman fifth. After the day he's had, picking up driver of the day as well. Unholy Red Eye sixth, Day seventh, eighth is Nicky 64, ninth Shariah, 10th is Grumfield Catman, 11th Scavney, 12th is Tweezer, 13th VTech, 14th Tim Rowland. Rounding out the field is Ray Lobo in P15. And next week, the Coleslaw Cup heads to Le Castellet in France for round number 8, I think, of the Coleslaw Cup. Yeah, round number 8. Well, thank you for joining us. It's been me, Hotspot, on the call. What a race that was.